From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update. Your weekend weather update is made possible by Caltrans District 2.
Well, even though we're between storm systems, the air is very saturated out there, so we're still seeing a lot of the overcast skies, low clouds, mist, some drizzle, even some light rain here through the morning. But the next storm system is knocking on our door, and I do expect the rain to intensify later today, and not to mention going into tonight as well. Taking a look at the Lake Oroville North Forebay camera, we're still seeing those overcast skies, some drizzle and some mist out there, if you will, here that we've seen here through the morning hours. I want you to take note when we look at Trinity Center. Now, this is a little over 2,000 feet, so it's not terribly high in elevation, but look at this. This was all covered in snow just a day or two ago, right? Now it's all melted away. Why? Because we saw the rain on top of that snow. So we saw that at 3,000 feet, 4,000 feet, and even at 5,000 feet. That's more runoff, and that's what's going to continue to bring us that threat for some flooding in some localized areas. Let's take a look at Lassen Park. Always nice to take a look at this shot here. Always gorgeous this time of the year at 6,700 feet, of course, mainly in the form of snow. So we look at our weather headlines. We get another round of heavier rainfall coming in later today and tonight, as I mentioned. Now, we do have the possibility for a break on Tuesday, but there is still going to be a lot of saturation out there. The atmosphere will still be very saturated. I still think we could be looking at mostly cloudy skies and maybe still some drizzle out there in some spots here. But if we see a break at all, it will be on Tuesday. And then we've got a chance for some more rain off and on all the way through the end of next week and really even quite possibly into next Saturday. But I do expect overall to see a drier and warmer trend, at least for a few days, toward next weekend and into the end of next weekend into early of that next week. So in the long range there, it looks like there could be a bit of a break from all of this. But we're going to see breaks through next week as well, which we'll kind of highlight here in just a second. We take a look at the overall setup here. We have the off and on rain here through midweek. So here you can see this is what's going to be coming in here late today and into Monday, right? And then we go into Tuesday. This is the bit of that break I was talking about. See how the storm system coming in later today, tonight. This is the one that's still developing coming in next Wednesday. We're between systems here as we go into Tuesday. But as I mentioned, still a very saturated atmosphere. We could still be looking at some drizzle and some light rain here even through the day on Tuesday, even though it's considered a break from the wet weather. And of course, here is that atmospheric river, the nice tap of moisture that all of these storm systems have as we go through at least the middle of next week, if not even longer. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. Now, by 3 o'clock, we're beginning to see the leading edge of some of that next batch of heavier rainfall to move in. So you can see pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall in areas. Snow levels still mainly around 5,500 feet, give or take, depending on where you are. There you can see some of the heavy rainfall along the coast. That pushes eastward. Now the eastern mountains is getting caught up in some of this heavier rainfall. Notice the heaviest rainfall is really in the foothills. This is when we could still be looking at the potential for some rain on top of some of the snow below 5,000 feet. And this right here, not only could it create flooding concerns for many of the local communities within the area of where the rain is, but we've got a lot of runoff that'll be coming down the mountains and the foothills into the valley. And what that could do is cause a rise in creeks and streams, and not to mention rivers, and that could create some localized flooding. So the flooding threat is not over just yet for the valley. So just be aware of that as we do go into tonight and into tomorrow morning. We may wake up tomorrow morning, some of you, to some flooded areas here that are, the typical flooded areas during these types of events here. So if you live in one of those areas, just heed warning that you could be running into some of those flooding issues. Heading up north, heavy rainfall in Siskiyou County, flooding a concern there as well, not to mention still on the coast. That's tonight at 6 o'clock, right? Then 10 o'clock, you see how we have really heavy rainfall now down towards the south and east, and still pockets of heavy rainfall at times at 10 o'clock tonight. And by the way, if you hear a few rumbles of thunder, don't be surprised because we could see some lightning strikes as well. 6 a.m. on Monday, we're still seeing some of that rain and still pockets of heavy rainfall. So think about it. I mean, between the hours of 3 o'clock this afternoon till 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, we're looking at that heavy rainfall at times, and especially on top of some of that snow, we are going to be looking at a lot of runoff coming down those mountains, so we'll have to watch for that. Now, look at Monday around noon. You see how most of the rain is now off to the east, and we're starting to kind of dry things out, if you will. But I still think it's going to be overcast, low clouds, drizzle, light rain here throughout the day on Monday. In fact, we're looking at pockets of even some heavier rainfall kind of kicking in some areas. All right, now we'll take you into Tuesday. This is when I think we'll see the best potential for a dry day. But notice what's happening. Even at 6 a.m., we still have a very saturated atmosphere, so the overcast skies, but there is, at least Futurecast is picking up the potential, that is, for some breaks in those clouds, even as we go into Tuesday afternoon. So could we see some breaks in the clouds on Tuesday? Not out of the question, but at this point I'd say don't count on it. Count on the fact that Tuesday will most likely be an overcast day with the potential for some more drizzle, especially for the first half of the day. And then, of course, this will be coming in on Wednesday. But Wednesday's system, by the way, doesn't look to be all that intense. All right, so forecast rainfall totals through Tuesday afternoon. Of course, we're seeing most of that here tonight and tomorrow. But there you can see there's the heaviest rainfall north of the valley, east of the valley. This again is where we're going to have the best potential for flooding, and then of course running off of the mountains there. But overall, I think we could see about an inch, give or take, for the valley. That'll be the case here for the coast as well, with heaviest rainfall out towards Del County. And by the way, looks like we're even seeing some decent rainfall off to the north and east, more than we've seen in a while up in those areas. Forecast snow, yeah, above 6,000 feet. That's where the significant snow is. We don't expect accumulating snow in Chester, but again, you could see a mix over the next 24, 48 hours. But the heaviest snowfall, that is going to be up in those higher elevations. Forecast wind gusts. Yeah, they're still going to be gusty out there the rest of the afternoon here. Just not as bad as it was yesterday. You'll probably have already noticed that. But look at along the coast, especially Del County, over 30-mile-an-hour gusts here, 25-mile-an-hour gusts here for the valley, and even some of those exposed mountain ridges. By the way, central Siskiyou County and Shasta Valley still seeing some gusty winds. But I mean, look at this. Even as we go into tomorrow morning, still a bit on the breezy, windy side, even in the morning hours on Monday. But by Monday afternoon, the winds should start to subside, and taking you all the way into Tuesday as well, just kind of illustrate that the winds will probably be much calmer on Tuesday as well. All right, so here's the big picture, long-range forecast. There you can see a bit of that break on Tuesday. Now, you'll notice Wednesday's system, again, not very intense, but it is going to bring us some rain at times, especially for the first half of the day on Wednesday. Maybe a break on Thursday, and then looks like Friday's system looking pretty weak. Now, this is what we call overrunning type of precipitation, or warm front type of precipitation. And that tends to be a little bit more widespread, the stratus clouds, the deck of clouds, and then maybe some showers coming out of it. So that's going to be on Friday, because what we're seeing here happening is, and you'll notice, you see how the flow of moisture is now moving up more towards the Pacific Northwest? That's because high pressure is beginning to build in. And what that's doing is taking that moisture that's pointed this direction and it's basically tilting it up in this direction. So our chances for rain begin to diminish as we go into Friday, but still the chances even going into Saturday before that ridge of high pressure gets stronger for Sunday, Monday, even Tuesday of next week, that next week. So we're talking about next weekend, right? So I do expect to potentially see a break from at least any chances for rain by next weekend into that early next week. There you can see your wave heights as we go into this afternoon. Still fairly high, but they are expected to drop a little bit as we take you into your Monday afternoon. So of course, small boats, you know what your boat is capable of. So just sort of taking a look at those wave heights. Temperatures in the mid-50s for most of us in the valley this afternoon. For the mountains in the mid-40s, although Trinity County around 50, mid-50s inland, and mid to upper 50s for the coast. Your 7-day outlook, yeah, we got off and on chances for rain. Now don't look at this as a washout. Here's what I'm expecting as we look at the next 7 days for everyone, okay? Heaviest rainfall will be late today and tonight. Anything after that is just going to be some lighter rain. We're not going to see any heavy rainfall on Monday afternoon. We're not going to see heavy rainfall on Wednesday. We're not going to see heavy rainfall Friday or Saturday, just some passing showers. Not a lot of rainfall after this evening in tonight's storm system. So just kind of bear that in mind when you're looking at this, because you see the chance, you see the showers. It just looks super wet out there, and it won't be. there are going to be some breaks in there. And as we go through next week, keep checking in with Weather NorCal, because I'll be giving you all the latest updates on what you can expect each and every single day. Looking at your 7-day outlook for the coast, and not to mention Trinity County, same situation there. Snow levels, of course, as you know, I've been talking about this, on average around 5,500 feet, give or take, not only this weekend and into early next week, but even with these chances for rain going through next week.